What up, Pittsburgh Steelers fans? The Steelers Global Perspective. Guys, dudes, what I know. Shannon. In life, I'm a big believer that there's two sides of the coin, right? That's the way I view things. There's two sides of every coin. So, the Steelers will play their preseason game on your birthday, which is really exciting. So it's actually, Shannon, I mean, I should be saying happy birthday right now. It's your birthday in Australia, man. Like, it's your birthday. You wouldn't have been born yet the year you were born, but it's your birthday in Australia. So there you go. I'm funny. I'm born just after the US day. So the US day starts I was born at night, right? So for me, if I actually celebrate my birthday on the hour that I was born, I'm like, it's my birthday in Australia, it's my birthday in the UK, it's my birthday in the US. It's the same birthday everywhere. But anyway, story for another time. Yes. But the Steelers might win the game and they might lose the game. And there's going to be a lot of discussion around if they win the game. Oh, look at how great they are. And I am on the train. I said this the other day. I don't want them to win every preseason game because it bodes terribly for their luck in the season. I want them to draw a game. I want them to win 2 and draw a game, right? Or lose by 1 point because they went for 2 to test situational football. Because you may as well test the situational football in the preseason. However, they might win the game and people are going to get on the bandwagon, and start going nuts. And Fields did this and Fields did that because Russell Wilson's out in the QB competition, and that narrative will take a life of its own. And then there'll be that if they lose the game, there'll be people that go, "Oh, see, none of this has worked out, and the Arthur Smith offense failed to fire." And you and I are not fair with all clickbait like that. So I'm going to shove. Whilst there's two sides of the coin, I'm going to shove them aside. However. And obviously, you and I are predicting the future because this game is not going to take place for another 36 hours based on when we're recording this right now. Actually, probably less. Let's call it 28 hours or something. Yeah. Regardless of what it is. If we win the game, what do you think what's the mentality Steelers fans should be taking away from that? But likewise, if we lose the game, what's the mentality we should be taking away from that? And yes, you can cheat and say that you're going to say the one thing regardless of the result, but I'll leave it to you to play sport or not.
All right, boys and girls, let's all listen.
Let's listen to Brother Shannon.
Let's listen to Uncle Shannon. It just doesn't matter. Win or lose, it just doesn't matter.
I'm going to clip this. I'm clipping this.
If you've seen the movie Meatballs with Bill Murray, they done a chant because they were losing to the rival camp across the lake. And Bill Murray's like, he starts to chant to all of his loser camps, people, and he says, it just doesn't matter. That's what we're saying. And they go on to win. They go on to do great things. But we saw last preseason, it just didn't matter. And what matters, Tomlin said it. He wants to see execution, no false starts, fundamentally sound football. Win or lose. That's what we want to see. Does the offense look professional? Does the defense look capable? If those two things we get out of this first game, and most importantly, no big injuries. If we get that, I'm happy.
Yeah. I mean, you covered it there. I'm clipping that though. I hate to tell you, I'm clipping that one. It doesn't matter. We do not care. We do not care. It's like I want to talk about this. I didn't get to talk about it with you last week, so you'll see your name on the screen and my name on the screen, and then there's a little caption under it, but it's in quite fine writing when there's the two of us. So I don't know if you saw that earlier, but there's in StreamYard we can have a little disclaimer. So this one says minimize the speculation, and this is my little theme that I'm carrying through the years. And Mike Tomlin said it last week. He was asked about. I think it was Kay Adams. It was either one. It was with the the NFL Insiders at Training Camp podcast. But I think this quote we said actually to Kay Adams. Yeah, it was because she said you're smiling, you're laughing, everyone's out here sweating off and they're in pads and everyone knows how much you love the tackling practice. And he said, well, yeah. And she said, but why? Like right now, a lot of teams are still taking it easy. He goes, because he said, we have 90 guys on the roster and I've got to cut that to 53. And I need to minimize the speculation, and tackling is, and then he says effectively it's a core part of the game that we need to minimize the speculation. And then he said it again, I think the following day in response to a press conference question. And this is the thing. This is my new one: is minimize the speculation. And it's why Mark and I talked about it when he and I did a live over the weekend and stuff. Like, this is my big thing at the moment, is that, and it's why on the Ayuk thing, I'm just trying to provide facts and details of why it works and why it doesn't. I don't have a horse in the race. My horse in the race is the Steelers, right? Like,
yes.
And this minimized speculation part. And it's so hard because as a fan, you've been starved of, like, I mean, but we've been basically on 6 months no football, right?
Yeah,
like, effectively, and or longer as a Steel fan. Like, the team to make the Super Bowl, right? So I totally get it. And when you're not, and also when you don't have a platform like this where you and I can talk about it, although this is why we have the comment section when everyone to comment. Of course, there's that need to get that outlet and want that fix for that news. But this is my thing about the minimizing speculation, because, and this is my feedback, whether they win, lose, whether they look great, whether they look crap, whatever. Everyone got on the train last year, and they went out and they got thumped by the 49ers. I mean, it looked bad. Like, it was like, Mike Tomlin says quotes like, JV and varsity. That was JV and like freaking NFL. That's the way it played.
Yep.
And we all got sucked into that drive to end the second half and that touchdown, and it went nowhere. So my thing is just minimize the speculation, take what's good, trust what everyone. I mean, this other thing, we're going to get people saying, I saw this on tape and I saw that on tape. And most of us will sit back there and go, did you? Because I don't think I saw that on tape, right? So my thing is to everyone is like, maybe, the saying would be better to be, take it with a pinch of salt or whatever. But Mike Tomlin's word is minimize the speculation. So that's my theme this year, is just minimize the speculation. Let's see what they've got out in the field. Let's be realistic. Even keel. That's what they talk about. All the players say with Mike Tomlin too. The thing I love about him is if they're winning and they're playing really well, he's the same guy. If they're losing and they're playing terribly, he's the same guy. And that's really important for me. So that's kind of like my theme.
I want to mention one thing that I've talked about for years now on these podcasts. I want to see sustainable improvement. And what I mean by that is there's been like the COVID year. They start out, they're 11-0, but they wasn't improving. It was just they were finding ways to win, but they wasn't growing. And then it caught up with them. The Steelers have not went into the playoffs or the end of the year on an upward trajectory, that they're building a young roster that's sustainable, that they can be a contender. And the piece here, piece there, they're moving in the right direction. They can contend the next year. This year, people's like, well, they got to win a playoff game. To me, if they could find out about a franchise quarterback this year, is it either guy, or they got to answer a lot of questions. But if they start to show an upward trajectory, very hard second half of the schedule, all this stuff we know. But if they start an upward trajectory and we see potential for sustainable improvement, and that bodes well for the future. I want to finally see that. Because right now, guys, we've got our best players. A lot of them are getting older. We're all getting older, but you know what I'm saying.
This is why for me,
has TJ Watt hit his prime yet, or is he going to take it to another level? But he can't continuously get better. Eventually, he's going to start the other way. Cam Hayward already has. Minka's a little younger than TJ, but they're similar. We got to see new talent. And I think that's what we're seeing in the last two drafts, as you just mentioned earlier. What we're seeing with these free agent guys that they brought in, the undrafted free agent guys they've signed, like Beanie Bishop, that excites me, because that shows a youth movement and a commitment to excellence and possibly being a contender. So as you say, minimize the expectations, or speculation, but we want to see sustainable and proven production on the field.
Yeah, I rarely disagree with you, and it's not really disagree. And I understand what you're saying with the quarterback side of things. Like, I completely agree with that part. To me, if they don't win a playoff, if they don't make the playoffs, but they figure that out, fine, because of the down the stretch run.
That's more important.
But right. But if they don't win a playoff game, and let's say they make the playoffs, which I think they will, and they don't win a playoff game, I consider that a fail of the season. And here's why, right? And if they figure out the franchise quarterback part out, and then Fields the next year proves to be great, then in hindsight, I'll say it wasn't a fail of the season. But at the point of time, if they make the playoffs right now, and regardless of whether we've decided it's Wilson or it's Fields or it's neither of them, because there's that scenario exists that it's neither of them.
Yes, that's true.
But they don't pan out. A lot of people aren't talking about that, but we got to be realistic on that. And also, we've got to be realistic that this run game could absolutely take off. And we get to the end of the year, and the Steelers are like, they played well, but are either of them worth $40 million a year?
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe we do something else, right?
Yeah.
Like, because other guys that could be available, or for trade that don't have a good year or want out of their program or what have you. Like, I think Herbert could be in that camp at the Chargers with the injury and all the rest of it. Like that, I actually think Herbert could become available next offseason unless there's anyway. Put all that aside. That's speculation. Minimize the speculation.
Well, it could be that, let's say that a couple of these young, let's say all these rookies and second-year offensive linemen, and they all hit.
Yeah.
Even if you don't have the quarterback and you're still looking, you have the offensive line.
But this is why this is.
And the defense, let's say Peyton Wilson is what we think he is. Beanie Bishop. That's secondary, guys. All the young guys, Joey Porter and Trice and Rush, if they hit, you're looking, then you are a contender because you have youth and talent. And then you're looking for that one guy, that quarterback that can get you over the top. We've been there before, if we remember a little guy named Ben.
Yeah.
So,
that's my point about the playoff game, though.
Yeah.
They've made investments. We've all heard how much better this offensive line is.
Yes.
Show it. They've invested money at linebacker, which was a huge problem in that Bills game, and so was not having a strong safety. They've fixed that. So that's why we think they've fixed that. And that's the only reason why I say, I'm not trying to be cynical, but that's why I'm saying if you don't win a playoff game, it's funny to say that, like you and I say this a day before they've done that, they're about to play the preseason game. But to me, that's why winning a playoff game is so important, because they've gone to a lot of effort. And it was, as we talked about with quarterback, at least they're trying. But we're hearing a lot of great things, and we're starting to hear a lot of great things year in, year out. And it's fine to be an optimist, but like I'm just someone that's a realist. And so I just want to see that. I want to see that translate on the field.
If they are competitive, if it's finally a competitive playoff.
Oh, yeah, if they lose by 1 point.
That's what I'm saying. Losing and winning, in this case, wouldn't be what if it's a late field goal, they lose, but they were competitive. The defense showed up finally in the playoffs. Yeah. The offense, maybe they still need the quarterback to get them over the top, and they're still looking. But if it ain't always losing, it's how you lose. And they have not been competitive in the last 5 playoff games. Not really. Totally. So that's what I want to see. That's what I'm talking about, the upward trajectory.
Yeah, no, and I completely agree. I completely agree with that statement. 10-7 isn't doing it for me. 11-6 isn't doing it for me, and you make the playoffs and you don't win anything. But we'll all see. But that is going to wrap up our Steelers Global Perspective content for this week. But man, I've enjoyed talking Steelers with my buddy.
Oh, it's been a blast. Yes.
But with that, we will wrap it up. As always, go Steelers.